Hello, I'm Maria from the Richton's Homeschool Life, and today is Vlogmas number 7. I think I can remember and get it right, number 7. What we're going to be talking about today is wish lists. I mean, how does Santa know what the children want? How do people know what to get each other? So how do wish lists work? Do you write wish lists even? Apparently there's like a little rule or a little rhyme I found that you write lists from. 5 things, it names 5 or categories. So number 1 is something that they want. So I'm not quite sure, well, maybe it's something they've mentioned that they want. That's perhaps what it means by that. So, you know, if I've gone around saying that I want a bar of soap, that'll be something I want. But yeah, I presume that's what it means. So number 1 on your list would be in the category of something that you want. Number 2 would be something that they need, something you need. So that could be anything really. Could be something you've got that's worn out, run out. Like with Sean, she used to put on her list every year Sharpies, the pens, the coloured pens, because she loved drawing with them and colouring in with them when she used to do her Country Humans. And so every year, even on birthdays, when people say what she wanted, something that she needed was a Sharpies because hers had run out and she used them for her artwork and things like that. So yeah, number 2 on your list would be something you needed. Number 3 then is something to wear. So in my case, normally it goes down as fluffy socks or slippers. And my list is always like fluffy socks or slippers. I used to like the slipper socks as well, but I swing more towards the fluffier ones these days, and slippers. And I always put slipper boots because I like the boots, the fluffy slipper boots. So every year I put them on my list, and so far every year I've had a pair, so I've not had to buy any for donkey's years. But yeah, number 3 on your list is something that you wear. Number 4, something to read. Everybody likes something to read. Last year I got some war diary books. In fact, Victoria from Home Educating the Mad Lads, she recommended a book to me over a year ago. And I did put it on my list last year and I've got it, but I've not actually got around to reading it yet because I had a few books. I think it was, I can't remember what it's called, The War Diaries of Nella or something like that. Victoria will remember. But yeah, I did actually get that. I've not read it yet, so I can't give a review what it was like, but I did put that down. So most people like a book to read or maybe a comic. And when you're younger, you get annuals a lot. I know when I was young we got a lot of annuals, and I bought my children a lot of annuals, and people still like the annuals because they're still making them every year. So something to read. I mean, we always buy our children books and that, so I think that covers all ages, doesn't it? Well, most of the things on the list do. And then number 5 is the surprise. Something that, you know, somebody either needs or something that they want, but maybe they don't know it. Maybe they've said it through the year in passing. I mean, I often say things like that, and my eldest daughter Lisa, she's good like that for listening to what you say, and then she'll remember it and she'll watch throughout the year and see whether it's something you've ended up buying yourself or somebody else has bought you, and if they haven't, she'll surprise you with it at Christmas. So yeah, it's a surprise, so something you don't know that you're going to get, something you've not put on your list, but it's what somebody else has noticed that you either need or would like. So that's basically how a list is formatted. So yeah, a golden rule, I think. So if you Google lists, they normally give you those 5 things, and it tends to be, if you write a list, that tends to be that way. So with us, how do we work it with us? we write lists, we do write lists. Not everybody has the list, and quite a few people just ask what you want, so you end up telling them. But personally, I like the idea of a list. We write a few different things down on it, not everything you're going to get, but you write a few things. And the reason for that is because some people said, isn't that a bit greedy, writing a long list of items? And I say no, because you don't expect to get all those items. It's just an assortment of ideas for people, what you want or what you need. You know, it gives people an idea. It's also in different price ranges because, you know, not everyone can afford much, especially this year. People can't afford a lot. So we might put on a DVD that's sort of £1.99 or £2.99, or you might have something in the £20 or £30 because somebody will go, oh yeah, I've got something little for you if you're a stocking filler, but what about something for a main present? And they'll want you to think of something a bit bigger. So we have an assortment of things. We do write an assortment of things and an assortment of prices, because not only that, I mean, you're not going to get everything on your list, but you don't know what you're going to get off that list. That's the thing. It is still going to be a surprise. You just don't know what you're going to get off the list. And some people try and guess, you know, they try and say, oh, well, I'm going to buy such and such, you know, hoping that you'll say, no, don't, because so-and-so's bought it. But they always try it on, and you still say, oh, go ahead then. But they don't buy it in case they've got it. So they can't sort of bribe you that way, but they do try. But yeah, that's mainly how ours work. We start off November time, we create a list. Although a lot of people are also going, oh, I don't know what to put on my list. And I'm always saying, no, we should start throughout the year really. Just have a notebook and just jot things down that we want or need or whatever. And if you've not got it yourself throughout the year, then you can put it on your Christmas list. So I always think that. But what we do, sort of November time, we write the lists. So everybody's list should be done by the 1st of December when people want them, so they can start buying. And then the list, like ours, Dean's is written, mine's written, Sean's written. We might have Lisa to get hers written. She's normally the last. Although my grandson was the last this year, the very last. He was getting worrying. We were threatening vouchers. But yeah, we do the list and then it leaves your hands then. So once I've written mine and I get mine and Dean and Lisa's together, Sean's together, it'll get passed on then to a member of the family, and then they'll take it from there. They'll pass it to each other. They'll discuss things off the list with each other. They'll cross out what they bought and they'll show each other the lists, what they've got, and it gets passed around. You don't see that list again then. You don't see it at all. I might just say, oh, is there anything left on Sean's list or Dean's list that, you know, I can get? Because if I know there's something that they really did want on there, then, and it's not been got, I can get it. I'm allowed to know something like that, as is Dean is allowed to know what's on mine, if there's anything left that he can get. But we don't see our own lists again. Well, we don't really see the lists again. It's just like I say, you can ask, but you can't ask about your own. So yeah, you don't see it again. You don't know what you're going to get until Christmas Day when you open your presents, and there it is. I mean, Dean's the best because he forgets what he's put on his list. He totally forgets what's on his list. So everything's a huge surprise to him on Christmas Day because he completely forgets. Well, yeah. So, I mean, if there's anything left on the list that you haven't got that you know you'd really want, a lot of people will just shelve it to one side and wait till your birthday or something like that. So there's always ideas for something. And like I say, when we run out of ideas, we give vouchers. Or sometimes we make things up because not everybody's got very much on their list. So you make it up with vouchers. And that way then they can get something they want when they think of something. Because how many people after Christmas suddenly think, oh, I could have put such and such on my list. Oh, I could have done with such and such, you know. So I think vouchers then is a good idea, because when you think of something after Christmas, and of course the sales are on, you might get that something a bit cheaper as well with your money. So your voucher or money, if you've had money, will stretch a bit further. So I always find that's quite good as well for bridging the gaps, filling in the gaps. So that's basically how our lists work. We do write lists. I mean, some people do say, oh, what do you write lists for? Isn't that a bit greedy and that? But if you didn't write lists, people are just going to buy things what they think you need because they want to give a present. People like to give a present, something for you to unwrap, you know, at Christmas. They don't mind giving vouchers or money, but they like to give a present as well, something, even if it's something just small to unwrap for Christmas Day. And so, you know, they'd be scratching for ideas, and if they didn't have a list, they could end up buying something that they think you might want that perhaps you don't want, that will end up being wasted because it's not used, you know, and it's a waste of money then. So we find that it's a good idea to write lists, although it does get harder every year because it's hard to know what you want. And it's like with the children especially, because they seem to all have had everything, you know, especially the older ones, the teenage ones. It's like, oh, I don't know what I want. It's easy with the little ones because go into B&M and be buying all these toys. They do some great deals where they've got, like, you can buy 2 lots of toys for 20 quid. Fantastic for the younger children, but of course not so good for the older ones. And the older ones sort of game systems and books and things like that, but they never know what they want. So you really have to get them thinking and, you know, get them to sit down early if they can and think about what they would like. So yeah, that is Christmas lists. That's what we do. I mean, do you do the same? Do you write Christmas lists, or do you just get told, you know, what to buy? I mean, like some of my children, they'll come and ask what to buy. They don't all get the list, but they'll ask what to buy. But somebody will say, well, there's such and such available. They'll look at the list and say, get this or get that. So they'll distinctly tell them what to get. They don't all take the list, and some of them come directly to us and say, well, what do you want? You know, so you've got to make sure if you just say something that you do want, it's not gone on that list. Or if for some reason it has, you quickly tell the next person who you'd given the list to cross it off, or they'll go along the chain to know where the list is to cross it off. So yeah, that's how we work it anyway, and it always works out quite well, and it's quite good because, like I say, you don't know what you're going to get for Christmas, and there's always some little extras as well that people have listened. You know, like I said on point number 5, the surprise, where they've listened to you. Lisa's good at that, but others are as well, and they'll listen to what you've said, or they'll identify something that you might need that you've not realised yourself, because you'll say things in the run of something, oh gosh, this would be much easier if I'd got such and such to do it with, and you think no more of it, you know, it's just something you say. But they'll make note of that and they'll look for something to do with whatever you've said. So you get little surprises like that. So you don't really know what you're getting. Despite having a list, you know you're going to get something that you want that's not going to be a waste of money and that's not going to be a disappointment to anybody. I mean, I know you shouldn't say you get disappointed with things at Christmas, but, you know, it is a little bit disappointing if you think that somebody's gone to the trouble of getting something and you might not use it. And you've got to think, oh, well, what can I do with it because I don't want to waste it. But and then you feel a bit hurt because, you know, they've spent money on you. So we don't have that worries with a list anymore. That's all gone. We don't have any problems like that. So it is a good thing to write a list. You're not being greedy or anything like that. It's really useful and helpful to each person who wants to buy something and who is saying, oh, have you got a list or any ideas what you want? It's really useful. So there's nothing greedy about it, you know, if you've got a list at all. So, and especially older children, it's very useful if they jot a few ideas, because you don't know what games they play and things like that, and half the things I've never even heard of. So you don't know what they're into and all that sort of thing. But if they write it down, and you know, you can just Google it or go into Amazon and have a look what things are, and you soon find it. So I think they're very good and very useful, and that's how our Christmas list works. So just to recap, our category for list should go: number 1, something they want; number 2, something they need; number 3, something to wear; number 4, something to read; and number 5 is the surprise, something that they've perhaps mentioned sometime in the year and not got that you can sneak in that they don't know they're going to get. So that's it for Christmas wishes. Thank you for joining me today. Tomorrow I hope you'll join me for Vlogmas number 8. See you tomorrow. Bye.